Hey guys, Rochelle here with Amethyst Ascension. If you are new here, welcome, and if you're returning, thank you so much for joining me again. So, this is going to be my July reflections video talking about my practice. And I had just a few days ago done the, showing all of my decks, just a massive haul and everything that I got in July because I really want to focus on what I did in my practice and a few other things. But I didn't even put down the shows that I watched or anything. Mainly because what I did really, this practice really consumed a lot of my month. As well as a couple other things. But, so, if you haven't watched already Carrie's from Carrie's Mystical Musings, she did a video talking about her practice, which was, in the first part of it, she talked about doing past life stuff. And so I had come up with this idea. I was already going to do past life stuff. I mean, I started doing the chakra work and then led to shadow work, and I feel like it's all part of shadow work and really knowing thyself. So I really wanted to focus this month on archetypes and past lives. So what I mean by archetypes are the archetypes, overarching archetypes for a given lifetime. So these were the cards that I did get in my envelope. And I am going to be opening up the August envelope and also announcing the giveaway winner of the Naked Truth Tarot. And I also am going to be announcing and showing the next deck that I'm going to be giving away and talking about the guidelines and all that and how you can enter, okay? So let's just get started. One of the things that I got was the shame card. And I told everyone in that video, I think I knew what it was about, which was like one of my stories or a story of something that I went through when I was younger, right? 18. An abusive relationship and everything that transpired from there. But anyways, that's not what it was about. These past lives, digging into these past lives was, oh my gosh, so difficult. And I even think I know one of the characters that I was, and he was very well known. And I had come to this conclusion, and then I looked at a couple of dates, and even the dates kind of confirmed something, because this grandfather's, of who I thought I was, this grandfather who played a huge role in his life, his reign began on my birthday, and the person that I think I was, he died on my husband's birthday. And you just cannot make that up. To me, that is like confirmation, right? But I'll get into it anyways. So those were my regular cards. So, and the first lifetime, okay, here we go. So I did put links in my regular July that goes to first life. And then I go back. Oh, come on. There's the second life. Whoops. Third and fourth. Okay. So the decks that we used to do this second life information, I used the Sidereal Oracle, as well as the Carolyn Miss archetypes and the Archeo personal archetype cards. So what I did in the beginning when I first started this, the first week, and I had asked a few other ladies to do this with me, and they also did. One of them did one life, was focusing on one life because she's just an extremely busy lady, but she also found a lot of information. But I'm not gonna go any further because it's not my life to tell. It's not my business to tell. If she wants to tell, she'll tell. So the themes that I got was assassin, angel, and martyr for this particular lifetime. And then and there's light and shadow to each one of those. So the light side was learning to make hard decisions, even when I don't want to, for the betterment. And then the need to harden my heart. That was the light side of the assassin. The shadow side was taking things way too far and burning too many bridges or cutting out too many people. So then the angel, that archetype, the light side, was helping those in need with no expectations or return of help. And the shadow was acting innocent or angelic to mislead others, falsely claiming to be in touch with angelic guidance. And then the other one was martyr. And the light side was learning the transcendent, my goodness, nature of service to oneself or a cause. And then the shadow side was addiction to self-pity. So those were the main life archetypes. And let me just say right here, if you think that doing past lives is romantic and it sounds really cool, it is difficult. I think the reason that we're still here is because we have a whole lot to learn, and we could have been like major sorry about that, major, bad people in other lives. And I found that a lot of my lives, I was not the best person. And emotionally, it was stressful on me to look at these lives. And and they get really in detail. So let me so my identity, I was a female. I was an other relative. This was on a card of Rise of Civilization. And then I also got Dreamer Organizer. If you've never used the Uncover Your Past Lives Oracle, oh my gosh, man, I can't even tell you. There are 8 different categories on each card. So in the beginning, what I would do, let me show you a card so that you understand. In the beginning, okay, just to give you a little bit of light. In the beginning, the way that I use these was because of it being a round deck, and there's different categories, right? I should have brought them down, but I forgot to. Anyways, I'll touch on that too. So we have identity, we have the time frame, we have the lesson that was in that life, we have the way that we died, the location, the trauma, the faith, and the love. Now, the order that we did it in was identity, time frame, location, faith, love, trauma, death, and lesson. That was the order that we did them in, which you'll see. So, and I'm sure if you're reading this, because it's been on the screen, but this was my write-up. With the book of this. So anyways, to finish. So this was identity. If I drew this one and identity came up, then I would go like this and flip it over and be in between 2 things. So it was a merging of both of these things. So I did that in the beginning. But the last 2 lives, what I decided to do was shuffle once for this side, for whatever one I was shuffling for, whatever category. And then I flipped it over and shuffled all of them, because it is a significant deck. I'll show you. And I do have a walkthrough, and I have done, I think, even lives with this deck. I love this deck. I've had it for a few years, and I've done quite a bit of work with it, but nothing to the degree that I did this month. So you can see there's quite a bit, right? So however they came up, you've got 4 different ways on each one of these cards. This is the main thing that it's under. So like this one is military, then we've got infantry, Navy, Air Force, and weapons development. So this is like a massive deck with the amount of options that are in it, and then you consider everything that's on the other side as well, and then the book. I mean, this should be way more expensive than what it is, and you can get this on Etsy or you can get it on her website, and I will make sure that I put links to both of those sites for you, because I tell you what, you want to do some major shadow work, do some past life stuff, because, and do it with intention, do it with the, for instance, for me, I was trying to, I feel like I have a lot of shadow around the divine feminine and the inequality of the divine feminine, and a lot of anger about the treatment of the suppression of the divine feminine, okay? So that's what my main focus was for doing this kind of work, but also to see what I still have to work on and stuff that's affecting me in this lifetime, so that I can work through my own crap in this lifetime so that I can ascend, because essentially that's always what I want. I want to be the best version of myself that I can be, right? So identity was the first one. The time frame was the next one. So in my time frame for this life, it was during the age of Atlantis, and it came under the brainwashing card and political. And on top of this, on top of using this and the archetype cards, we also did tarot spreads, furthering questions for each one of them. And we do have in the Amethyst Ascension, well, it's no longer, that's another thing I did this month. I changed the name of the group. It's no longer Amethyst Ascension Family. It's what, Divination and Spirituality on Facebook. Because I want it to be more accessible. I want people to realize it's more accessible and a place for them to go as well, and for them to share their stuff. It's not just about me, right? So I changed that in the group. So anyways, there is a 2-page printout for working with this particular deck of extra readings that can be done in correlation with each one of these categories. So we use those, and we also expanded on it. As I started going, the more I knew about the life that I was experiencing, that is when I just started putting some of my own stuff based on questions that I had regarding that particular life. So I used the, oh gosh, I thought I had it on here, but apparently not. This is the haptic tarot. But anyways, the time frame was the age of Atlantis on a brainwashing card, and it was under political. So I was politically brainwashed by somebody in that lifetime, and then with further stuff. And then the location was some sort of jungle location during a time of an air disaster, tornado bomb. Those are loosely what you can go by. Sometimes it can also be like an archetype, that extra part is an archetype for something. So you can also use that. There's stuff in the book that says archetype under each one of those cards as well. So it's, oh my gosh, it's such a wonderful deck. And then on top of that, I used more questions. This was the Baroque Tarot. And then, so my faith in that life was agnostic or atheist. And I got it under the execution card. So, and it was between like snitch and executioner. So, and I used the influence of the angels to ask further questions of my faith. Then I got for the love, I got abandonment. And I'm guessing that the actual love that I had in that life was some sort of international merchant, hence why he left me, you know, because he left and he never came back. And I kind of never got over it. Even though I did end up marrying again, I pretty much closed myself off, you know, as far as my heart goes. But I did a whole lot of reading. I also used, in these readings, for the love parts, I used my Shades of Love Oracle, just to try to lay, I didn't put them in here, I just wrote what they were in here, but to lay out a picture for me. And oh my gosh, do they paint a picture, let me tell you. And I think I did like 5 or 6 cards, just drawing them and saying, okay, show me a picture of what my love life was like, kind of thing. Excuse me. And then this was the, I had talked about using the Madame Lydia Wilhelmina's tarot and the 9 of Cups. Well, that's where that came in the very first week. That's why I wanted to do the flower stuff after learning about her and reading, because not only am I reading out of the book, you know, for this, I'm also reading out of the books of these, if there's anything special or they're different kinds of decks, just so I can see what other kind of clues, because I feel like it all just kind of, you know, comes together in a culmination to show you. You get little clues here and there, and then you also get like psychic hits of things that transpire. It just like the story reveals itself, it unveils itself. So then in that life, I also, the trauma was wartime, which it was a wartime, and I got the rebel card, and I was some sort of revolutionary. So you mix that with being somebody that was brainwashed politically. This was at the very beginning of the Age of Atlantis, and yeah, I mean, I'm not going to go into great detail, but this was the Tarot of Ambiguities, and this was the Soul's Journey. No, I don't remember what this one is. Did I put it here? Yeah, Tarot de Ambiguities and the Soul Mirror Oracle I used for the extra stuff. And then my death, I died of old age, and it was under the accomplishment card was a competitor. So I was pretty much good at what I did, but what I did was probably a little bit, I mean, I was on like this crusade, right? I thought I was doing good, but really I wasn't. So this one wasn't even that hard of a life. Some of the other ones were so just traumatic. But I also used the Rider Marseille Tarot. These were from artisantarot.com. Those 2 decks, I used those in the first life. And then the lesson was accountability, taking accountability for the things that I did. I thought I was this hero crusader, you know, doing what was right and blah, 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 blah. Well, not necessarily. So my lesson was about accountability. I got it under the ice disaster, which is hail or ice age. And that also kind of goes back to the hardening of the heart, or just like icing people out of your life kind of thing. And my cards, how does this connect to my current life? What lesson do I still need to learn? And what karmic lesson did I resolve in that life? And those are my cards. This was also out of the Influence of the Angels Tarot. Then I used another deck that I showed in my haul video. Sorry, I've got a pile of stuff here, which is the Amanda Ellis Christ Consciousness Self-Mastery Oracle. And I drew a card at the end of each one of the lives as a message from that past life part of me to me now. And, you know, the messages were so profound. It was so good. And it really rounded out the experience. So then we go on to the second life. And we would meet up every Monday. And we would get, I mean, our sessions would last like 3 and 4 hours each Monday. as we went through these. I mean, we would talk about other stuff too, but namely, at least for the very beginning, the first 3 hours or so, it was all us going back and forth, and oh, it was such a good experience. But I was so stressed. I'm not even kidding you. I was so stressed. Let me turn this off. There we go. So the archetypes that I got for the second life were Seeker. The light side of that was thirst for wisdom and truth wherever they are. The shadow side of that was the inability to commit to a path once found. This is the one where I found out who I believe I was. And it blew me away. But I will make a comment about that also. Also, I got the Father archetype, talent for creating and supporting life, positive guiding light within a tribal unit. That's for the light side of it. And the shadow was dictatorial control, abuse of authority. And then the other archetype I got was child and nature. So the light side is friendships with animals, communication with nature spirits, and the shadow side of that was tendency to abuse animals, people, and or the environment. So in this life, there is some personal stuff, okay? But I was a male grandchild, and I believe that my grandfather was actually Augustus, also known as Octavian. He was an emperor. He was the first emperor of Rome. And I was his adopted son. His daughter had a son, well, her firstborn and her secondborn, Augustus, had adopted them. And because they were supposed to be his heirs, right? I'll just show you that. And so I was Gaius Caesar in this lifetime. Now, the thing about that is, once I discovered who I thought, because it even said father of somebody, grandfather was somebody very well known, okay? And even the time frame and everything put it exactly at that time frame. I used my divine divination guidance deck to pinpoint the actual decade, not the decade, the century that it was, because this was classical antiquity, which took it about from 1200 BC to 8 AD. While using my deck, I was able to figure out exactly that it was the first century, okay? But I was using it kind of like backwards because of it being BC. I also used the Baroque, the Lamucci Baroque tarot for this one. Anyways, the archetypes really came through, showing that I was adopted. So my father figure was extremely controlling, who was Augustus. I died in that life at 23. The location was Western Europe. It was on an ice disaster card, hypothermia, hail. The thing about, and I also used the Odyssean Tarot. The thing about that was, it said on the card that it could have been, you could have died from complications due to an illness or something of hypothermia, or where your blood pressure went down, or lack of blood, anything like that, right? So it could have been somebody that was poisoned, but this character that I believe that I was in that lifetime, he was actually injured when he was like 21 years old, because he was out, you know, leading a military for his grandfather, and he got injured and they thought that he had survived it, and then a couple of years later, supposedly he had died from it. But his stepfather was Tiberius, and Tiberius, his mother, that according to Wikipedia, his mother, there was questioned, or his death was actually questioned because it could have been funny business that she did, like poisoning or something like that, because his younger brother, who was also the next heir to the Roman Empire, had been killed right before he had, maybe about a year beforehand, in an entirely different area of the world. Those were the two that were the heirs for, you know, getting the throne, right? Becoming the emperor. So then Tiberius became the next heir. So that's why they think that quite possibly his mother had something to do with getting rid of the two boys. So the thing that's really weird, my faith was agnostic or atheist. The thing that was really weird was that, and this was, man, this was a hard life. Just to show you, you know, the love was non-possessive, even though I was married off to like one of my cousins, because it was a political marriage, who also happened to be, I believe, the granddaughter of Mark Antony and Octavius, or Octavian, or Octavia, that's right. Which is all just wild, right? One of the things that we had discussed is in Dolores Cannon's actual books, The Convoluted Universe, she talks about how, you know, when she was doing regressions and stuff, you would have several different people come in, and she used Cleopatra as an example, that would come in and say that, you know, they had a past life as Cleopatra. And the reason that that happens is because when you're on the other side, you have the ability to like scan those lives or imprint those lives so that you can learn from them, because we are souls that are trying to learn. So when somebody says, well, I was Cleopatra in a past life, it could have been because they were extremely interested in that life. So they like scanned it or researched it. And when they did that, it's almost like it was one of their lives. So it would come through in a past life regression like that, because it was imprinted on them so that they could learn those lessons also. So because some of the other ladies actually had, you know, tracked down who they believe that they were based on all, because we did such in-depth readings for each one of these categories. And a couple of them actually correlated with each other in a life, which is weird because they also say that we are, you know, we reincarnate with soul family. So how interesting that they would have been connected in another life and then still connected in this life, right? That's also what some of the stuff that Dolores Cannon talks about. So anyways, that was a really hard life. That is the one that Augustus, I'm just showing you really quick the message. Yeah. So anyways, I don't want to get too personal with these because it's like my shadow work kind of stuff. But I don't think I was like, even though Caesar, or Gaius Caesar, not Julius Caesar, but Gaius Caesar, even though he had great power, it was like expected of him. He didn't really have a whole lot of choice. I mean, he obviously had choices, right? But what were the choices that he had? He could either do what he was told to do, or he would somehow get taken care of, because that's how cutthroat it was. That's how cutthroat they were then. You either did your role, or you were exiled, or you were killed, or you know, they went after your family or whatever, and he had certain obligations. But the funny thing was, because I was like, no, this can't be right. This can't be one of the people that I was, right? But he died when he was 23 years old on my husband's birthday. You can't make that crap up. And his grandfather, who was one of the archetypes in there as the dominating father, because he adopted me, I don't think his mother, my mother in that life, even had a choice. My grandfather was extremely powerful, and he was forcing this person to marry this person to marry this person. That's just the way it was. And so he said he was going to adopt her children as his own sons so that they could become his heirs, right? So I think that he just felt like he had to. He didn't have control of his life. And Augustus's actual reign started on my birthday. So, I mean, literally, you can go to Wikipedia, and even when I told my husband, because he doesn't even believe that, when I told him that, he goes, oh my God. And he died at 23. Now, it had my husband's birthday, my birthday, and we got married when we were 23. Whatever, right? I'm telling you, you can't make this up. These are coincidences, or these are not coincidences. These are synchronicities. So anyways, another life. This one, I was some sort of guru or idol. And I also, this is my divine divination deck. I was asking all kinds of questions because of the time frame. This was like 10,000 BC, a Neolithic revolution. So this was like 10,000 BC to, what did they say, like 2000 BC. So I narrowed it down to roughly 6,000 BC. So it was about 8,000 years ago. And I was like a warrior woman. And they also, like my companion, this was also in the Middle East, which would have been like Mesopotamia, Sumer. I'm just telling you, you just cannot make this up. Babylonia, around in that area, right? And my faith was ascetic, which has to do with like depriving yourself, like self deprivation for your own spirituality. But I kept on getting like dragon stuff and serpents. So I even asked, because it also said that I was like deity, when asked, how did I see myself? I got the Six of Wands. That automatically made me think of a female warrior, but I had already established that I was female. How did others see me? And I got the damn devil card, right? And this is also, I chose serpent fire before I even realized all of the stuff. How did I use my abilities? And I got strength and Four of Pentacles. But you see, it's like a rainbow bridge between two civilizations, right? And they're up in the air. So when I asked myself, or asked my divine divination deck, why would I see myself as a warrior? I asked the question, what was it? What was I? And it said I was a deity, what people would see as some sort of deity. And I said, was I an extraterrestrial? And it said yes. Was I an Anunnaki? Probably. Was I a warrior? Most definitely. Yeah. So that was the time frame. The location was the Middle East. Ascetic. Also, when it showed the love, it showed that also a gladiator card, and the female gladiators were called Amazons. So there's also, you know, rumors of the Amazons, or like Valkyries or whatever, which were like, you could say like alien or hybrid or something like that, right? And I got several of the same cards again, like, How did I express my love to others? Ace of Swords. And then I got the Devil again. Because I think I was just so driven. That was a sad life also. Because my trauma was my loss of status or reputation. Because I got hurt in battle. And if I could no longer fight, then my status like dropped down, right? So instead it was a non-contagious illness. But it was also like drought, which stated that it could have been that where I was at, it was, extremely dry. So it could have been caused from something like that. And during that time period, in that area, what used to be like a lush area turned into desert. I mean, these sent me, not even just here, what you're seeing, you're only seeing a portion of all of the research that I did online for each one of these lives during these periods of times, these locations, whether or not it worked with the cards that I was getting, everything. My lesson was forgiveness for myself, for others, because it was a war trauma, yada, yada, yada. And I got this one again, tethered and caged. And I got that in the previous life. So, anyways, my last one, just yet another one. War trauma, loss, it was early modern age, Northern Europe. I was a male. I was a grandparent. I had been swindled by somebody. My religion was like, I had some sort of astral experience, but it was in between lives. So that suggested that I had the ability to be a seer or some sort of communication with, other beings. So the person that because this is my love, and I also use the Heaven and Earth Tarot for this one. This happened to be grandparent, war, trauma, early modern age. So I ruled this down to roughly 1600 using my Divine Divination Guidance Oracle, which I have taken off because after using it, I realized I needed to do something different. So I took it off for sale, and I'm going to be changing stuff. But you don't know until you use it, right? In practice. I just see how it could be improved upon. Northern Europe, so it was Iceland, Denmark, Norway, Sweden, Finland, Estonia, Latvia, or Lithuania. Another thing that came up was wondering when we were talking whether or not it had anything to do with our actual lineage that we reincarnate, or our DNA, or if any of these things were actually some of our ancestors, and we are getting the past life information from our ancestors because it's carried in our DNA, and that's why we're experiencing it. Like, there was just a whole lot of theories that we were rolling around, discussing. So in this life, I was extremely possessive of this woman who was the person that was taking care of my grandchild, because my wife had died in childbirth with one of the last child that we had, and that child had died as well. But the child that I had that remained, or however many other children I had, which I'm not sure of, but before my wife had passed, it was that grandchild. And so I think I was so obsessive. I mean, I got so many cards when I did the love reading that came up: obsessive love and unbalanced love. And because also I was kind of like, I wasn't her boss, but she was a servant. So there was a power issue also there. So, I was like a slime ball, really, and the war was the trauma that I experienced, but also obsession on the obsession card, and obsessive love came up again. I'm telling you, you just can't make this up. And I said that there had to have been something about this woman, because I wasn't like that with all the other people. Even when I looked at my identity and how people felt, they all looked up to me, except for when it came to my love. So it was like my love, or obsessive love, just drove me freaking crazy, okay? And I used the Tarot Delanoue for that. And this was the Heaven and Earth. This is the Fyodor Pavlov. This is the old style tarot. Old style. I died of suicide. I killed myself. Oh, I should probably be careful with that. Well, it's really, you know, trigger warning, I guess. But, yeah. And my, what is this? Lesson was greed. But I think that it was very much tied into the greed that I felt towards this woman. Because it says that it could be greedy, it could be like miserliness, like being too strict with the money because you're holding on too tight to it. It could have been just in general that even if I was so obsessed with her, I could have felt like she was like my property kind of thing. You know what I mean? So, and then my past life message was gentleness. And yeah, whew, that was my month. And I mean, these lives just got me teared up and feeling full of shame. And I mean, if you're trying to go into past life work, trust me, it is most definitely shadow work. Because 9 times out of 10, you're not going to like the person that you were. And if you really like and everything was peachy keen, you got to ask yourself, and I have to ask myself, is that really what the past life was? Or did you romanticize what the past life was? Because, yeah, I mean, you know, even when the archetype came up for the Gaius Caesar, him and his brother hosted, like, celebrations where they would do sacrifices. Granted, he was like 13 years old, so it was something that was put onto him and his brother, because his brother was even younger than he was. But there would be, I'm sure, like animal sacrifices, and there's probably trigger warning for the topics of information that I'm talking about here, but I'm sure he was a womanizer, you know, probably because he thought, and I'm just guessing here, but if you're in military, you're thinking that, you know, I could die any day because, you know, I'm leading these damn, anyways. So I'm sure he was a womanizer and, you know, had servants or slaves, or just don't think he was the best, even though he was 23, and he probably felt like he was born into something that he didn't have a whole lot of choice. I will say that in the last 2 years of his life, he retreated after his injury, and he didn't want to have anything to do with his station anymore, and he wouldn't go to any events. Augustus was trying to get him to go, and he wouldn't, and then he surprisingly died from his wounds that were from 2 years ago, right? So anyways, I think that there was some shady business going on there because he no longer wanted to do it. But anyways, that was a whole lot. So a couple other things that I want to talk to you about. So this process really, really got me, which I'll show this while I'm talking about this. This process really got me seeing what kind of decks could have really friggin' helped me during this time period. So during doing these, I actually created 2 new decks. They're both completed. I haven't received them yet from Make Playing Cards. Well, One is called the Matrix deck, and the other one is called the Answers from the Universe deck. And Answers from the Universe deck it doesn't require a guidebook or anything like that. But the Matrix deck, I am working on a PDF guidebook for that right now. And so I'm not sure when that's going to be available, but I love the deck. The guidebook is coming together so beautifully. I also started working on creating more spreads, because I'm going to do like an expansion for the spreads deck that I already have on Make Playing Cards, the Love of Spreads Oracle. I've already written like 15 other really cool because I was just like brainstorming. I'm telling you, these past lives just opened up so much in me. I brainstormed a couple of other decks besides the ones that I just completed. But those are going to be all spreads decks as well. And I'm still working on my 78 tarot archetype spreads decks. And there's 3 of those. So they're just all different. It's the same one. So it's a matter of what somebody would like better, you know, aesthetically. But they have the same information on them. It's just the images or the way that it looks is just different. You know, different strokes for different folks. So the stuff just really quick that I enjoyed. We just finished watching the karate one. We watched that one. It's like the Karate Kid, you know, the newer version that's on Netflix. So we watched that. Cobra Kai. Jeez. That was really good. God, I love Cobra Kai. It gets me all teary-eyed. I don't know what it is about, like sports and, you know, camaraderie and teamwork. It just always gets me so pumped up, and I love it. Another one that we finished is the Acolyte. I think we finished that. I think that was the last one. The Accolade or Acolyte. I can't remember what it's called. It's the Star Wars one. That was so good. Oh my gosh, it's so good. And then we also watched, or are watching, House of Dragons, which is so friggin' good. Love it, love it, love it. So that was the main stuff that I can think of. Oh, another deck that I used also is this Gift of Virtue Clarity deck. This thing is so huge. And I only had so much room for pictures, so I would just put in there the cards that I got in my write-ups. But there's like 150 cards, and it's 148 cards. And so I would shuffle them really good as I could, and then put them into 3 different piles, and then put my hand over it until I could feel like the tingling in my palm. So I knew which pile to pick, and then I would shuffle and get the flyers. So it was quite the experience. I am going to be offering past life readings where face-to-face, you know what I mean? FaceTime for anybody that really wants them. They're so in-depth, but it's going to be quite pricey because the amount of hours that each one takes is a lot. I mean, probably 4+ hours for a true beginning to end, seeing the whole past life play itself out. And I will tell you, one of the ladies, and this is so interesting, and she might talk about it, but I'm not giving away any pertinent information, but just let me tell you that one of the ladies, while I was pulling her cards, because she didn't have one of the decks, the main deck, the Uncover Your Past Lives, when I started pulling them, what was coming out was a little bit different than what she was seeing. She was getting psychic hits in her head, and so she was writing those down, and the further that we started going with it, they all started falling into place. It was the weirdest, most fascinating thing. And anyways, it was quite the experience. So, I got to do the giveaway. And I want to announce the new deck that is going in the giveaway. Let me put this away really quick. Thank you. If you're still here, thank you for spending this time with me. And, all right. So, this is for the Naked Truth Tarot and the spread cloth. There was a lot of people that, you know, joined into that giveaway. Thank you so much. Good luck to everybody. Oh. All right. All right. Let me reach in. We've got Zig, Zach, 5272. You are the winner. So please leave me or send me an email. My email is down below in the description. Send me an email with your information so that I can send out the deck to you. Okay? Now, if I don't get a response from you within the next, let's say a week, so within 7 days, then I'm going to redraw. Okay? So, Zigzag 5272. Congratulations. Okay, so now let me show you the deck that is the next one that's going to be given away. All right, so this is the Candle in the Cave Tarot deck by Caitlin Crisco and artwork by Annette Purcell. And this was a Kickstarter. It really is such a stunning deck. I do love the deck. Don't get me wrong. I love it. That's what the box looks like. Some of you who have been here long enough, you might remember when I did the walkthrough of this. I got so many comments on it. It is beautiful. But you know what? I have a problem using this deck personally because I always see my fingerprints on it and it drives me nutty, so I don't ever reach for it. But it is a, oh my God, I wished I didn't have this friggin' issue. So it is a stunning deck. If I have a walkthrough, I will link it down below for this one. So the rules for entering in this one is you need to leave a comment down below, and the comment is going to be sun, moon, sun, and so emoji, sun, moon, sun, emoji. And anytime, you know, just as long as you leave a comment on this one, you can enter. However, for those who enter, and if for those who have made comments on all of my June videos in the month of June, they get an extra drawing for each, an extra entry for each one of those comments. So because I am trying to really get interaction. So when I get the interaction from you, not only, especially if you're a small channel, I like to have the conversations. You know, that's why I'm here. That is what keeps me here, is the community and the relationships that I have created while I'm here. They mean the world to me. If I didn't get comments and didn't interact with people, there's no way that I would still be on YouTube, because it is like a job, okay? Other than just doing walkthroughs maybe, but it's the interaction that is the most important thing. You know, I see other people say that that's what they want is the community, but I don't ever see them leaving comments on some people's channels, right? So, I mean, maybe they're doing it behind the scenes, that could be, or in different chats and stuff like that, that could be. But I want to create community here. So, and then it goes outside sometimes, a lot of times, right? So anyways, comments, extra comments in the month of June on any of my June videos, which there was maybe 10 to 15 videos, you get an extra entry for each one. And the drawing is going to be probably towards the end of, well, when I do my reflections next month, I'll do the giveaway announcement. So you have until then. Yeah, you have until the, well, maybe a day or two before the next reflections video for August. And then I'm also going to be announcing at that time the next deck for the giveaway. Okay? So thank you so much for spending this time with me. And if you have any questions about the past life stuff, let me know. Let me know what you think about it. And do you have the Uncover Your Past Lives Oracle, or do you have other Oracle decks or decks that you use primarily with past life work? Have you done a lot of past life work yourself, or have you done regressions? And what have you thought about those experiences? Please leave me comments, let me know. And if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up and possibly share the video, because it helps my channel grow. So, and I appreciate that. And I'm sending you love always. Another thing I forgot is to open my August envelope. So let's do that together. I am donning. I don't even know which one that is. Is that maybe the Ace of Pentacles? I don't know. We'll see. I got Time, which is promotes forgiveness and offers release. Oh, after the month I've had, that's perfect. So this is the postcards from the universe, I believe. And the message is, dearest you, as you think, so will you experience life. Thoughts are that powerful, and they need minding. Let the unruly, chaotic ones settle down so that they serve you or get released instead of wreaking havoc. These thoughts arise when connected to the energy of fear and often masquerade as truth. Yet the real truth is that essentially all is well. Of course, you have thoughts that are positive, strong, organized, accepting, creative, open, and so on. Those are the ones we want you to keep thinking, and they have a less frantic quality. They're stimulating in a good way and don't get away from you. How do you keep an inner eye on your thoughts? Meditate and leave judgment out of the mix. Everyone has those fearful thoughts. Love them, love yourself, and then choose the thoughts that you want the world to reflect back. Life is not as hard as you think. Loving you so much. I love that. Ooh, sex magic. Wow, I hope he's going to be happy about that. We'll see. We will see. I don't know. So those are my cards. We'll see how they play out for August. So I forgot to mention, just really quickly, that my room is kind of crazy right now, because you can see I've got this and this. I've got 2 more bookshelves that are coming in. Because I'm getting rid of all of, well, I'm not getting rid of, they're going down in the basement for extra storage, because you see up above where I've got all of my tarot decks and stuff over there, and Oracle. Well, down below, the 2 shelves down below are like crafts and stuff like that. So it's not tarot. And even the third ones, because there's five cubicles that go down in each one of them. So with saying that, all of the cubicles, and what's behind there, are all going down into my basement for extra storage. And I'm getting 2 more bookshelves. So I'm going to have one right there, one kitty corner if it works, and then 2 more on that wall, fill in that wall, so that I've got like what I have here. So it's all going to be bookcases, and they're like wood, you know, so it matches better with my room than the black stuff. So yeah, so that's the big stuff that's also going on in August. But so hopefully that will be all changed over within a week or 2. I don't know. I've got to start really, you know, pulling all of my decks down. And that's my little basket of goodies right there that's giveaway. So anyways, thank you for spending this time with me. And I'm sending you love always.